And it's once again time for more music theory. Yay! Anybody else excited? I'm excited. Just me? Just me? Okay. Alrighty, key signatures. So a key signature is at the very beginning of any piece of music, and it tells us what notes are to be played, anything other than naturals, okay? So we've started off at the very beginning of the year playing with two sharps, and hopefully by now, hopefully, you remember that that's the key of D major. So if you were to play a D major scale and go from D all the way up to D, the notes that wouldn't be natural would be these two sharps. So let's just do it. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Okay? So as we go up, the only two notes that wouldn't be natural would be, what's the first sharp always? F sharp. And then the second one is C sharp. So D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. So that's a D major scale. Two sharps. One sharp is the key of G major. So if we were to go G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all 8 of our notes, okay? So if we were going to play a G major scale, the only thing that wouldn't be a natural note would be our first sharp, which is always F sharp, okay? G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, okay? So that's G major. And then this one is new, and here's my favorite way to teach this. I wish you could see the cheesy look on my face because it gives me great joy sharing this with students. So, do you see any sharps and flats in our key signature? No, you don't, because you don't see any sharps or flats. Do you get it? See? See? It's a homonym, right? It's a real knee slapper. Okay, so just remember that painful moment always for the rest of your life, and no sharps or flats. That's the key of C major. So if we were to play from C, F, G, A, B, C, C to C, everything's natural. So if you're playing on a piano and you just play the natural keys, bum, 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 you'll notice that it sounds right to finish when you end on a C. That's because key of C major doesn't use any of the black keys. Okay? Aren't you you're so excited now, right? Yeah, theory. All right, name these symbols. This is way back review, back to page 4. This is a sharp sign, sharp. That's our natural sign. And there's our flat. Okay. What does a sharp sign do to a natural note? A sharp raises the pitch a half step. A half step. What does a flat sign do to a natural note? Oh, glad you asked. It lowers the pitch a half step. So if you find that you are having trouble remembering which raises and which lowers, a half step, hang on, I can't write and talk at the same time. So sharp, you can think something sharp on the floor is sticking up, right? It's sticking up, it's higher, you step on it. So it's higher. A flat, when your car tire is flat, it goes down. It's not perfect, but that's how I suggest students remember it, okay? So now before we've had the sharp signs on these piano keyboard notes, way back in lesson 19, so a sharp raises the pitch a half step. So C, that would be C sharp. D, that would be D sharp. F, up a half step, that'd be F sharp. So flats, we're gonna go the other way. E, and then when we go lower, a half step becomes E flat. A half step lower than D would be D flat. Yes, they're the same notes. We will talk more about that later. Coming up soon. Give 3 examples of notes that are a whole step apart. So you could do D flat and E flat. You could do D and E. You could do A flat and B flat, G and A. You have oodles of options. Just make sure that you're skipping over one key of the piano as you're counting. So don't just count down here. You have to make sure you're counting up here so you can see where all the notes are. Alrighty? What are the 2 naturally occurring half steps? A little bit of review. These 2 are right next to each other. And these 2 are right next to each other. E and F, B and C. So just remember those. It'll be more important later. Define the following time signatures. At least I'm consistent. Be sure to say what both of the numbers mean. So the bottom number is always a 4. Top number tells us how many beats. Bottom number tells us what kind of note gets the beat, right? So if we were to take, let's see, what do I feel like now? Pizza. I feel like pizza. I don't look like pizza. I didn't think it was funny when my dad said it either. Okay, so 4. When we divide it into 4 parts, we've divided it into quarter notes. So the quarter note's going to get the beat. So in this one, it's 4 quarter note beats per measure. This would be 3 quarter note beats per measure, 2 quarter note beats per measure. So there you are. There's that. Time signatures, not key signatures. These are key signatures. These are time signatures. Translate DC all fine into directions in English. Okay, so DC is on page 26. All right, here we go. DC all fine. Go back to the beginning and play through to the fine, the end. Now, I know it looks like fine, but this is Italian, and so we have to pronounce it. It just is what it is. Okay, so DC al fine means go back to the beginning and play through to the fine, the end. So write the definition down. It is also in the back of your theory book. Should you not have your Sound Innovations book with you, DC al fine, right there. Okay. Write in the beats underneath these notes. Be sure to use 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in every measure because we are in common time. Common time is another way of writing 4/4. That's our most common time signature. All right, so we're writing along. So 1 and 2 and half notes get 2 beats, so that'll get 3 and 4 and. And then, whoa, hold the phone. What's this curvy line thing here? I'm glad you asked. I'd love to explain that to you. It's a tie. So we're on page 27 now. A tie is a curved line that connects 2 or more notes of the same pitch. The tied notes are played as one longer note with the combined value of both notes. So for example, in the book here, they have a dotted half note which gets 3 beats. And then we're going to glue it together to this guy right here. So it's going to sound like it's 4 beats long. So you might say, well, okay, why don't we just put a whole note in there? Well, in this case, it's because we can only have 3 beats per measure. So if you want a longer note, you have to tie them together to make it sound like that longer note. As you play longer and longer and longer, you are going to find more and more and more ties in your music. Usually it's over a bar line so that you can get a longer note. Usually it's not within the same measure. So like right here, they have, this is a dotted half note which gets 3, plus a half note which gets 2, so it's going to sound like a note that's 5 beats long. We don't have a note that's 5 beats long. It doesn't exist. So if you want a note that's 5 beats long, you have to tie something to something. There's no, like, whole extra note. You just have to tie it. So over here, we're going to glue these together. And if you're not sure, you can always work backwards. This is the last beat, so you know it's going to be 4 and. So this will get 1 and 2 and 3 and. And you would count it just the same as a dotted half note. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Yes, in this case I could have put a dotted half note, but then you wouldn't get practice with ties. You're welcome. And then you do it again. So generous. Okay, and then beat 4 and then last measure, nice and easy for you guys since your brains are already so exhausted from all of this excellent work you've been doing. That is the end of worksheet 23.